I mean, for those who know IAMOT, you probably know that for the past 33 years, we have been running annual events, and then we had some regional events, you know, within our history, but we have not been very much doing online events, apart from the years that we had to run our conference online because of the pandemic, of course. And so it's a great pleasure to have you all here today. For those who don't know me, I'm Breno Nunes. I'm the current president of IAMOT. And we're going to start before we actually have our main speaker. We're going to have the team in Portugal led by Professor Ana Simões to do a quick invitation for you to participate in IAMOT 2024 in the beautiful city of Porto. Right. A little bit more on our welcoming note here. I would like to thank now, because as the questions go on, I'll be moderating the questions, looking at the chat. And then I don't want to lose the opportunity to thank Mauricio for doing these very first IAMOT talks. So Mauricio, I think anyone who attended IAMOT 22 in France, in Annecy, was very impressed with the lab, with the Green FabLab. And I thought, why not to bring this, a presentation on how to build up a successful lab. Of course, the title of his talk is a little bit more elaborated and more academically serious than building up a successful lab. But in few words, that's actually what he's going to be talking on, how to build up a world-class lab. Without further ado, let me hand over to Ana. And
I will try to share. Okay.
Yeah. Also, thank you very much for Aston University for supporting this, Aston Business School.
I think you have to give me permission to share, because you told me that.
Oh, okay, so perhaps because you are you have making a no, you already make an attendee.
I will try again.
Try again, because it was showing something and then it just stopped.
For me, they say that the sharing is in pause, so I don't know what I.
Oh no. See if you can do that now. Perhaps if you got in as a guest,
You are not seeing my screen.
Not now. Make a presenter. Yeah, let me make you a presenter. I had to make you an attendee first and a presenter later. So I think you have the rights now to do it.
Okay.
Should have permission.
Are you seeing my screen now?
I'm afraid not. Do you want to just send it via email to me and then I can share from here? So we can just...
Let me try again. Okay, and then if it's not work, I will share with you. No, I think it's not working. I will send you the presentation, Breno.
Yes, please. Oh, we can see it now.
No? Are you seeing?
Yes, we all can see that now. Yeah. In presentation mode.
I put in the presentation mode. So, thank you again for giving me this opportunity to share with you the organization of IAMOT 2024 conference that will be held, as Breno said previously, in Porto. This is a beautiful city in the north of Portugal. Here you have a big picture of almost sunset in this city. So this is a city that stays near the river and also near the sea. And the conference in this city will be held between 8th and 11th July next year. It will be the 33rd IAMOT conference. The weekend before these 3 days are dedicated to the PhD colloquium. So if you are PhD students, you can have more information about this PhD colloquium if you want to assist. This is a great opportunity to discuss your dissertation plan, as well as to make a network of people that are in your area or expertise area, or in the area that is near yours. So let's move. So here we have the conference chairs.
So, sorry to interrupt. I don't think you are sharing the presentation mode. So if you just go back on and just move these slides back, we can see it. Okay.
So what we are saying is you are not seeing the presentation?
No, the presentation mode is not showing. It's just showing you a deck of slides. So you're moving slides there, but it's not moving for us.
I'm not so familiar with these issues in Teams, so I will stop sharing and I will send you because I don't know how to make it, because for me it's in a presenter mode. So I will share with you the presentation and ask you to do it and share it for me. Just send it. You are muted.
I haven't got it yet. It must be a big file.
Maybe I can proceed with that in order not to take much more time. So, as I said, the conference will be shared by me and my colleague João Claro, that is also professor at the Faculty of Engineering of University of Porto. And also we have organizing committee that is organized by 3 pillars. One that is regarding the scientific issues, that is led by Ricardo, that is here in this meeting. The ones that is more in operation and logistic issues, that is led by me. And the ones that is related to the communication issues, that is led by our colleague Gustavo. Additionally, we have other people that is also in this organizing committee. We also have a scientific committee where Breno and some other people from IAMOT board is also presented, as well as some people from the local organizing committee. Regarding the most important dates, what we have a deadline extension for those that want to submit abstract for extended abstract for the conference. The idea of this extended abstract is to understand if the topic of your research is aligned with the topic of the conference. And we will give you the answers regarding the revision of these abstracts on 17th January next year. Additionally, for those that want to submit a PhD, to the PhD colloquium, a proposal for the PhD colloquium, the deadline is on the 15th January. For the full paper submission, the deadline is on the end of January, on 31st. And for the full paper revision notification, it will be at the end of April. So for those that, the dates that are more important are those that related with the PhD and the full paper submission. That will be on 15 January and at the end of January. Okay, any questions, please let me know. So our program, as I said before, will be, the conference will be held on between the 8th and 11th July, and will be held in one of the most important and historic buildings of the port city, that is Alfândega. And we will be there between 8 and 10 July, where almost 50 parallel sessions and 3 keynotes will be the most important events during that 3 days. Additionally, during these 3 days, we also have some social programs, a welcome cocktail on the first day and the gala dinner at 10 July. Additional, we will have some technical visits on Thursday, 11th July. Okay. I also have would like to share with you some of the most important social networks links that we have. You can follow us in LinkedIn and Instagram. You only have to look to IAMOT 2024 and instantly our page will appear. We also have a web page that we can follow. This is IAMOT2024.com, where the most update news are presented. I would like to share a short video about the city of Porto, but unfortunately it will not be possible. But I hope by the end of this session, Breno received my email and can share it with you. I try to be brief because of these technical issues that consume part of this session time. So please ask me questions if you have any questions for me.
Many thanks, Anna. Anyone has any questions about the organization of IAMOT? I think the website is, it's pretty good. It has a lot of information there. We'll take that as a no. All right. And we move now to Professor Mauricio Camargo from University of Lorraine. So Mauricio, over to you. Many thanks again for you doing this talk for us. It's a great pleasure to have you on board and, doing our first IAMOT talks. So over to you. I think you're muted. We cannot hear you, Mauricio. Mauricio, I'm afraid we cannot hear you.
I think Mauricio is muted. I can see in the...
Here. Can you see? Hi, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen now?
We can see you, your screen, and hear your voice. So all
Everything
working now.
everything is working now.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Breno and Anna for this introduction. Just to say to Anna, I really sent my ASTRAP to IAMOT, and we will be in big number from France in IAMOT for sure. Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. I delighted to I'm used to ignite things. As Breno said, this is a new activity for supporting the community of IMOT. And when Bruno asked me to participate with this talk, I even for me was evident that I will do that because, for our team, I will talk a little bit on our team, research team. IMOT community has been a really valuable community for different in different aspects. Laure has been participating in IMOT for let's say 25 years at least, and for our lab, having this networking and friends is participating in different projects, PhD juries, and so the results, the outcomes along this journey has been um, just wonderful for us and very supportive. So yeah, I think that I wanted to share a little bit on our experience for the Green FabLab, but more than that is on the experience on innovation spaces, because these innovation spaces came for us a research field entirely. And the Green Fab Lab is one of the different experience we had in our innovation space. So I wanted to start with sharing a little bit on some, let's say, conceptual things, thoughts about the how the Green Fab Lab is working, a little bit on introducing our team. So let's go. I'm the director of this research team. The research team, the name is ERPI. ERPI stands for Research Team on Innovation Processes, or Équipe de recherche sur les processus innovatifs in French. So this is basically an industrial engineering team, but it's a multidisciplinary team on industrial engineering and focused on the innovation process. So we have people from material science, or mechanical, or chemical engineering, but also colleagues from management science, economics, and education sciences. So I used to say that our lab, we are like 60 people, so a little bit around 20 permanent researchers, 20 PhD students, and 20 engineers, postdocs, and technicians. I used to say that the ERP is a platform lab. Why? Because we are working in every single project in partnership with different labs from the university, but also from other universities in France and the international scale. But also we are, let's say, the innovation lab, working with people from chemistry or mechanics or business or psychology or different areas. Why? Basically because we consider that there is social issues that we have to take, but not, uh, let's say, on the opposite with these disciplinary issues. So that's the reason why we are trying to integrate the different disciplines. So multidisciplinary or multidisciplinarity is a key word for us. And the second thing is that we are trying to integrate all those things in a space, our innovation space. The name is Lorraine Fab Living Lab. So this is a platform where we are trying to create new things by integrating the different disciplines. So the idea is we call this with a process that we call 3D or 4D for innovation, and 4D means from conceptual to from creativity to creating things on materializing prototypes on virtual basis or on physical with 3D printers, for instance. But also the 4D means co-creating the things, the co-creating process with users and with the different stakeholders of a project. So by saying that, our core business is we are creating methods and tools to support the different innovation process stages. So basically, where our main areas are centered in innovation metrology. So we were working on how to measure and put in some metrics on the innovation process. Also, we are working on foresight or prospective and weak signals, because when we are creating a new product, so we are creating a new value chain, and so we are working on how to understand this process of creating new value chains. But also we are working on design understood as the process from creativity to virtual or digital prototyping. And at the end, we are working on acceptability or from product process and supply chain. So basically, we are in all those stages, all those research domain, we are creating tools and methodologies to support them by doing the projects. The other consideration is because we are working at the TRL, very high TRLs, so we are also applying those methodologies in different fields, like smart territories, from smart territories to circular economy, but always with companies from big companies like Airbus, for instance. We have a industrial share with Airbus, but also with the small and medium companies locally, and also with local authorities. We are working with local authorities or let's say European projects. So our methodologies are being applied in different domains. So as a final consideration, let's say that we are seeing the innovation process as a system. Why? Because when we are creating a new product, let's say we start with a need from society, the traditional approach is think about the technical development. So we are, for instance, let's figure out the fuel cells and using hydrogen as energy vector. So for instance, when we are focusing on the technical issues only, we are losing something. So we recognize that when we are creating a new product or we are new technology, we are at the same time make evolve the learning processes, because when you are innovating is learning. So we have to consider what learning outcomes have to be considered, but at the same time, we have to consider how the project will be managed, how this project, this new product, this new technology will change the organization and also the innovation ecosystem. So our duty is trying to consider and work with these new technologies and products by looking at this multi-scale process simultaneously. That's the reason why we are doing our project with different laboratories and different disciplines interacting in a single object or a single prototype or demonstrator. So this is this second thing that is really at the core of our approach. The next thing is, of course, doing this or applying this system process put out several challenges. So for instance, when we are doing a project, how to deal with simultaneously with the different scales, whereas ensuring the integrity and coherence of the data, decisions, stakeholders. So the idea is how to organize this system, this innovation system. And then the other things, how to ensure this interdisciplinary process. So when you have a prototype like the Green FabLab, for instance, where people from different disciplines are interacting. We are creating new knowledge, but it's difficult to be managed because we have people having different point of view, dealing with concepts and applying different research approach from qualitative to quantitative. So we have to deal with all those things. But of course, we are in a university lab, so we need to be considered or having the recognition from the scientific community. So this is the most challenging thing when we are applying this. So we are working a little bit, a lot of on this role. The focus is on the role of the prototypes that we call demonstrators, using this theory proposed, or not just by Starr in 1899, but it is a very nice article from James Moultrie in 2015, underlining the role of scientific demonstrators. So these demonstrators are artifacts that are as a mediators between different actors. So these artifacts are really important because they allow people to interact in a continuous process in order to creating this common knowledge. More recently, for instance, the ADEME, the environmental agency in France, are stated about naming as territorial demonstrators. So those territorial demonstrators are prototypes at scale 1 that allow to create a new representation, a shared vision from the territorial point of view, create this space for cooperation between the different stakeholders in the project, and manage the complexity of interacting with different methodologies and disciplines. But also it allows to integrate the process and iterate and gradually tuning the different and widening the scope of the project. So basically this is the conceptual considerations about our approach. And then I already talked about the innovation space. So our innovation space, we call it, we started it 10 years ago. Breno already mentioned it when people came to IAMOT in 2022. We had the opportunity to share this space, and we call the Fab Living Lab. Why? Because we are integrating the approach of living labs, so co-creating with communities, communities of interest or communities, different kind of communities, but also trying to create and prototype as fast as possible the concept in order to put in this object in the center of the community. So is what we are doing. So the principle is to accelerate the iteration process when there are governing the innovation process. So we could iterate and accelerate the work, the throughput process from the idea to concept to prototype and to use from the different users. So we are mixing different technologies. We have this collaborative space with user involvement, ideas materialization, and user experience evaluation and acceptability. So we are seeing technology as a mean, not as a goal. So we are dealing a lot with technologies, but using it as a mean, not as a goal. And of course, this is some pictures about the space, how it looks like. But yeah, the most important thing is the place where we interact with different research institutes within the university, with companies, of course, with the territory, because we are working with the city hall, with the region, and with other communities around Nancy. But also we are linked through the projects, the European Network of Living Labs, for instance, the Fab Lab communities, but also through the European projects to a community of competencies and skills. So as I said before, we are dealing with different technologies from 3D, augmented reality, virtual 3D printers, sensors, but again, seeing the technology as a mean and not as a goal. And seeing technology as a means that we are trying to use as far as possible open source technologies from software to hardware. Why? Because using open source technologies, is what I've learned from this process, allow us to make evolve the machines, the device with the project. Because we are iterating, for instance, if we are using a 3D printer, which is closed technology, the constraint is that we have to use the raw materials or the conditions that are already offered by the technological supplier. But when we are using open source technologies, we can make evolve this machine. We can use whatever we want, change the raw materials, or change the conditions, and it allows us to evolve with the project. So put this dynamic within the project in order to get and test things that are proposed by people. And I already mentioned also that within the Green Lorraine FabLab Lab, we are working with people, with communities. So it means that we are participating a lot on, let's say, with citizens. So open science and trying to integrate people with the project and experiments we are doing. So for instance, this is an example. We are participating in the International Fair Trade of Nancy, which is not a scientific, it's not at all a scientific fair. It's the fair where people from different, you can find from food, from electronics, or whatever. But because we have 100,000 people in the city in the fair, so we have a stand where we're being running this stand for more than 5 years, and then the idea is share our projects with the community. And it's a wonderful opportunity for us to communicate about the project we are doing, but also to test with people outside of the university and people, the normal citizens, the concepts and the projects we are developing. So this is it's a duty for us, and it's a very time-consuming activity, but at the same time, really important. Okay, so that's the main concepts. I hope these different concepts allow you to understand why we are working on this Green FabLab. And if it's clear, let's move on the Green FabLab. So the Green FabLab is a project that is started in 2013, so 10 years ago. We are celebrating our 10 years, and it started with an issue that in the lab where we used to prototype a lot. And there was a master student that said, okay, we are prototyping a lot with 3D printers where we are using PLA, but why not? We are not doing one-shot printing. So we are a lot of wastes, and why not trying to reuse those wastes? So we started trying to recreate the filament bobbins for the 3D printers. And so we were working with people from the chemical engineering department in order, because they had the machines already adapted to do that. So we tried to edit, and we succeed doing that. So we start a joint PhD with the chemical engineering department at that time, and the project start growing and interesting different people. And now it's a multi collaboration project where we are working with Michigan Tech University, Western University, UTT, which is University of Troyes here in France. And now we had European project. The first European project was INEDIT, Open Innovation Ecosystem for Do It Together process. And then we got a project from the National Research Agency, where we are trying to propose the model for communities, for local communities, municipalities, And then we got the last European project that will start next January, is the project LOUDS, Local Accessible Urban Digital and Sustainable Factories. So so this is a project that is going on because we are building up with this demonstrators approach. So what it looks like the Green FabLab? So the Green FabLab, the concept is a small factory in the urban areas. So the concept is about the distribution recycling. So this is an approach that created by Professor Joshua Pierce from Western University that called the DRAM process. Or DRAM stand for distributed recycling supported by additive manufacturing. And within this small factory, the idea is why not to recycle plastics in a closed loop in a local area, in a local basis. Why? Because the recycling process of plastics, it doesn't work. Just to give you a number, in Europe, in recycling rates, I mean recycling, really recycling, not just valorizing by incinerating or whatever, recycling is just 14%. And we're supposed to be the #1 continent to do it, recycling. So just to say that the recycling process is not working. Just why? Because the recycling is a very complex process of transporting raw materials or plastics, sorting, because there is not just one type of plastic, but different types of plastics. So we have to sort, we have to transport it, and you have to clean it. So the process is very complex, is not very is not really from the economic point of view feasible. So the idea is how to avoid this transport sorting. So the basic idea is creating micro value chains at the local scale. I mean, at the local of the neighborhood or a building where people can come themselves to recycle their plastic wastes. So we were working on different projects from creating the bobbins, and now we are different facilities to recycle using different technologies. So the demonstrator, we build it up, and people in IAMOT already visited. The concept is working on these small units at the small scale with low processing capacity, with technologies that are cheap and easy to use, but also having an active role from users at the local communities. So we already built our factory, small factory in our neighborhood. The Green Fab Labs is located not in the campus of the university, but in the facilities that are being facilitated by the City Hall of Nancy. And we have a network of recovering smart collectors in 10 different points of the neighborhood. So we are working with primary schools, secondary schools, and engineering schools that are in the neighborhood, but also with associations and cultural centers. So the idea is try to understand how this micro value chain could be formalized. So in these projects, we are working for people people from chemistry, from mechanics, but also from mechanics, economic science, and social sciences. So again, this is an object, an artifact that had been manipulated by different communities. So the idea is to create this shared knowledge. So this is our last PhD. Just to mention, this is one PhD is running on. The idea is about the plastic bottles. Because there was a law in France 2 years ago where now it's mandatory that the caps of the bottle are attached to the bottle, just to avoid these caps to be in the nature, which is a good thing. But from the recycling point of view, is a very bad thing because we have two different materials, so PET and HDPO, these two different plastics. So the sorting process will be really difficult. So what we are trying to do now is trying to scrape the whole bottle and trying to compatibilize these two different materials in order to create a new material that is the merge of the former plastics. So this is a kind of project we are doing, again, with open source technologies, but it is a challenge we are working with the Western University. So just to maybe summarize, and coming back to this Green FabLab and explain why we are seeing it as a system, is that, of course, we are working on the technical development. We are working on creating the machines, the different machines for production, but also for quality control, from the smart collectors. Everything is using open source technologies, but also we are working with citizens and with users in order to make it aware about this model and make it be engaged in the project, because this kind of model needs a really active role from the citizens and from users. But also we are understand how to pilot these kind of units, manufacturing units, how to create it, how to which competencies do you need in these kind of centers. But also we are working on how to create this ecosystem and the organization of this kind of micro value chains. So as you can see, we are dealing simultaneously in this kind of project with the different lawyers or different scales in the project. But the only way to do that is on the multidisciplinary basis. So basically, I have some final considerations, let's say. The first one is we do need a research involvement within this on the framework of the theory of complex adaptive systems. This is a question because what is the role of researchers in this kind of projects where we need to be active and we need to be within the system? And it's a challenge because from the times of Francis Bacon that created the scientific method, we know that we have to be outside as far as possible of the system to be, let's say, objective. But in this kind of project, the researcher's role, the researchers have to be inside the system and be active on the system. So the system will evolve within having us inside. So this is why not? This is questioning us about what is the role of the researchers on these kind of systems. The second thing is dealing with multi-level perspective and orchestration of open innovation ecosystem. It's really a challenge for academics, is what we learn, but also for practitioners, because people are saying, okay, this is interesting, but how we can reproduce it, so making change in society, I guess, need this kind of approach, but it's complicated. And the other thing is we are dealing with bottom-up and top-down approaches. What I mean by that, bottom-up, is that because we are researcher actors in the system, so we are proposing things that are not, how to say, institutionalized in the university. So we are working with things that are being proposed coming from the ground, let's say, and then when internal or university authorities start understanding what we are doing, they support us. But it's not the first step is not the getting the support from the university, but creating things from the ground and then propose them to the university. And also the role of these spaces, so technological platform, Again, I already mentioned it, but we are seeing that as enabling means rather than goals. So thank you very much. Is that what I wanted to share with you? We are proud because just yesterday I was in Paris in the OECD, where we were recognized as one of the 10 cases where universities contributing with the green transition in Europe. So yeah, I will be happy to answer the questions or start the discussion with you.
Lovely. Thank you, Mauricio. I must say that I I was very impressed when I visited the lab, but I'm even more impressed now. You know, I could learn more on the details that you were presenting here that we perhaps didn't have the time to explore during the visit. We do have a question from Ahmad. Ahmad, would you like to open your mic or camera if you like and ask the question yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much. So very, very interesting work. There's lots of things I could ask about, but one of the questions that came to my mind when you talked about communities of practice and boundary objects. So I wonder, how was your experience with 3D printing in that context, where you have different groups of people? And yeah, could you say something about what difference that technology makes?
What is interesting is that I have already mentioned we are working with open source technologies or appropriate technologies. Is because when we are doing that, we can use commons knowledge. So we are within those communities of the MIT Fab Labs communities, and we are in these open communities. So it's wonderful for us because we are not creating everything from scratch. So we are taking if we need some improvement on the machines, or if we have to create, for instance, right now we are working on a lab device, which is to measure the quality of the polymer. So the name of the equipment is the ME5 melting flow index machine. And this machine was already proposed by somebody in the community. So we are right now in the third version of this machine, but we start from this machine that was proposed from somebody from the community, and now we are improving the machine. So this is a machine. Just see, this machine is a machine that in the commercial version could cost like 30,000 euros. But for us, it's less than 1,000 euros. So this was just one example. And the other thing is, as I mentioned, with those machines that we make evolve ourselves, it's interesting. During the PhD, for instance, we start thinking about one material that, because we want to explore something new, and we are working with open technologies, we are able to modify the machines, for instance. So the research will be evolved with the machine will follow the project. Yeah, just to give two examples. I don't know if is this Ahmad, this answered your question.
No, well, it's lots more information, but I think specifically what I'm interested in is when you have different groups who have very different backgrounds. So what I mean, for the example you gave from the Moultrie paper, in that paper he was showing how these various types of prototypes, I guess, are helpful. And I think also can relate to what you said about researchers working with non-academics.
Exactly.
Did you find anything about 3D printing specifically because of the physical aspects that help with that kind of engagement between different groups?
Yeah, a group of researchers, you mean? Yeah, we in the 3D printers, we are working simultaneously. It was new in the, we have different departments, mechanic, materials, and chemistry, for instance. And this was the first time people from the 4 departments are working together in a single project. And I find that this is wonderful because even if we are in the same place for 30 years, it's the first time we are cross-linking knowledge and competencies, and it's wonderful. For instance, when you, of course, we are, let's say, doing a maker's work, but if we want to publish about your materials, you need to have the results that are certificated by equipment that are in the labs. But because those people are in those labs, we are using also facilities from those laboratories. So we have, if we need to do microscopy, a very particular microscopy, so we do have access to these laboratories. So for me, it's wonderful seeing how we can mix different things, different knowledge, but also different infrastructure from the university. Yeah.
Well, excellent. Very good. Any other questions? Any questions from anyone? Or comments? I mean, you may want to comment on something. If not, I can chip in with one of my own questions, which I put on the chat there. You mentioned, and then it's really interesting, these aspects of the community coming together and finding the lab as a place where they can dispose some of the water bottles or other materials for recycling. And then, I think the process you have there, it's really sophisticated as well in bringing them down into this, sorting, segregating the waste and bringing them back into new products. When I was there, I saw a lot of products, from chairs to toys to key rings. There was all sorts of products. I want to know who defines the choice of those products? Does the community get also involved in defining what should be produced from the lab?
Yeah, well, this is very good question, because when you are recycling, the traditional outcome is doing products that have lower added value. And our challenge is how to make products that are higher value from recycled products. And that's
from the circular economy principle, try to keep at the same highest level as possible, right?
Exactly.
Circulate at the highest level.
Exactly. And you have seen a lot of furniture. Why? Because in this European project, the core of the project was producing furniture from recycled materials, from wood to plastics or whatever. So that was decided, let's say, by this European project. But just to give an example, we're trying to do things that are more valuable than that. For instance, with the dentistry faculty, we did a project where the new surgeons, when they are putting implants for tooth implants and so on, so they are training themselves using pork jams, because they are very similar to ours, and so they are trying to training themselves with using this biological material. So they were looking for a material that will be replace this pork piece of things, because by working with biological products, you have a lot of risk. Biological risk is you have to store them, is to be frozen, and is quite complicated. So we create by using 3D printers and recycled plastics, some models where those surgeons can train themselves in order to make these implants. So this is just an example of the things that we are exploring, but it's a very open exploring. But the goal is how to deal and how to create objects that have higher value, more than just creating some souvenirs or things, very basic things.
No, yeah, very good. Understood that. The thing is, you might have products that are essential or they are needed by the community,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
which you reduce the outbound logistics when you produce as well. Or
Exactly.
you might have a funder that says that you need to produce furniture, and then you don't know what this furniture will end up with. So
Mm-hmm.
adding more energy intensive in the progress between where the product going to be used and where it's being produced. So it's just about these local consumption and production systems
Exactly.
that you could think of, because you could have uh, high value products that are not needed or
Mm-hmm.
are not local, but you
Yeah,
can also have
exactly.
low value products that are needed, they are local or not local, let's put it that way, regional or something like that. So that was the rationale behind my question.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Just a final, maybe we are trying to deploy the same approach, but here is more, let's say, an internal project, but we are
Mm-hmm.
also working with companies. This morning I was in a meeting when we had this call this morning, Breno.
Yep.
We just starting a new project. It's a research share with a company and the local municipality here in Nancy. Is about
Mm-hmm.
how to manage the green areas in the city, because this company is producing machines for the maintenance of the green areas and roadsides verge. So in this project, we are trying to deal how can we deal with the ecosystem services and use maybe, for instance, grass as energy source. So this morning we had this meeting with the city hall technical services and the
Mm-hmm.
company. So we are trying to apply the same approach. So the idea is how to improve the technological system of the company, but do we need territorial demonstrators? So the idea is,
Mm-hmm.
with the participation of the city hall authorities, they will allow us to use some areas of the city in order to test these new machine, the new technologies, where we are cutting and recovering at the same time the grass, and then creating new value chains to valorize this grass as an energy or products. So the
Mm-hmm.
idea is to deploy it in the territory, in the local territory. So again, this kind of approach is having these demonstrators as intermediary objects with different communities can interact. So this morning we were with technicians from the city, from the company, and researchers from the university working on this specific uh, project.
Well, that's great. Very
Yeah.
interesting stuff as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
here at Aston University, we have an institute that is also working with the pruning of trees, and collection of grass to produce a
Okay.
biochar. So
Mm-hmm.
perhaps you could be in contact with them.
Oh,
Uh,
glad to have this contact.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, Let me
Raji,
just, yeah, yeah, there is
Raji
one
has a
more question.
question.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Uh, Raji, I mean, are you okay to open your camera and your mic to ask the question?
I just wanted to know whether there was any hazardous materials usage protocols, or is there any kind of templates that you use for that? Because in our companies, we do that. So I just wanted to know.
A kind of protocol like quality procedures and
No, for usage of two different kind of materials, how does that affect the end product?
okay. Yeah, well, we are to be honest, we are in a, let's say, constructivistic approach. So we are testing things in order to solve the issue of sorting materials, and that's the reason why we are mixing it. But the idea, this the project of the bottle that I already showed is a really brand new project. We are just testing that. But the initial idea was to create the micro value chains. For instance, we start with the PLA from the labs of the university and primary schools in the neighborhood, because the idea is to gather those materials before they have to be merged. Yeah, this merging different kind of materials is a brand new area for us. So I have no more information to provide to you in this specific point.
The reason I asked is because in Singapore, we have certification bodies who have to certify and say yay or nay before you can even use two kind of materials to do something else. So that's the reason I asked.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, as I say, we are in a very constructivistic approach, but of course, if you want to propose a product, is something we have to consider more in depth.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Any more questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a mission also from Laure Morel.
Yeah. So
because
I think you have 2 slides on a new book that you want to promote as well.
Yeah, exactly, because it's just launching a new book on European perspective on innovation management by Laure Morel and Rob Deckers. She told me, hey, please share it with the community. We are launching this new book about management practices for innovation, regional and national innovation system, comparative studies, and pathways for research on innovation management. I guess will be edited end of December 2013. So maybe for the next IAMOT, we will bring some volumes of the book.
That would be excellent, and I take this opportunity to inform that we're going to be reviving the Best Book Award in IAMOT. So we used to do every 2 years, and then we're going to be reviving it. So I would recommend that Laure and Rob submit that book for award as well. There will be other books there, of course. But we're going to be opening up the proposal soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. So if there aren't any questions or any comments, may I thank Mauricio again for this wonderful talk. I mean, very informative. It's been a pleasure to be with you all. Many thanks for all of you who joined us. I know that it's a bit late for people in Malaysia, towards the end of the day. I know it's quite early for Raji in the US, and it's just after lunchtime for many people here in the UK, in France, and in Portugal. So thanks again for attending these IAMOT talks. We look forward to seeing you all in the city of Porto next year, and keep an eye on our social media posts, on everything that we're doing, because we're going to be launching a new website, so you can subscribe to get the new newsletters and informs about the next events. But thank you very much for attending.
Okay, thank you.